Hello, my pretties. Let's talk about the news, politics, and pop culture from 2004. The year started off, I think it was January 11th. Casey Kasem retires from the Top 40 radio program that he had done since the 70s. I used to listen to it a lot when I was little. His voice was perfect for that. Replaced by Ryan Seacrest. The Spirit rover lands on Mars, and President W. Bush gets a little cocky and announces plans for a permanent moon base by the year 2020. Meanwhile, Halliburton becomes a multi-billion-dollar corporation funded by the U.S. government by occupying Iraq and Afghanistan, which they continued to do until about 2018, even though 2004 Afghanistan signs their first constitution. The My Doom computer worm becomes one of the first computer viruses to ravage the internet, causing millions of dollars worth of damage. They still to this day don't know who did it. There's a conspiracy theory that's part of the dead internet theory that says that the government was hoarding personal information from users on the internet and subsequently was decommissioned, or whatever you want to call it, on February 4th, the day that Facebook is launched. It seems like a weird enough coincidence to elicit a little bit of a conspiracy theory. You can look into that a little closer if you want. A Luddite like me can't make that sound as ominous as it really is, but is Facebook a government plot to steal all of our personal information? California signs the first same-sex initiative, marrying 4,000 people on the steps of the San Francisco courthouse. Obviously, got a lot of conservatives up in arms. I think they tried to delegitimize those marriages, and I'd like to say we've come a long way since then, but we're reverting right back to it with where we're at now, but we won't get into any of that right now. Terry Nichols is convicted in association with Oklahoma City bombings. Geez, that only took about 9 years. Gmail is launched. Google is launched. Ireland becomes the first country to ban smoking in all public restaurants and businesses. The last Oldsmobile is rolled off of the assembly line. And we got the Motorola Razr. Jeez, it's crazy how far the technology has come since then. I had a friend that had a Razr, and it was cool. It was so super thin, but it didn't feel right in my hands. I didn't like the buttons. The camera was the best camera I'd ever seen on a phone up to that point, obviously. On TV, you had the finale of Friends and Frasier, and Ken Jennings became a millionaire by winning 74 games on Jeopardy. Ronald Reagan dies. I suppose he had done all the damage he can do to that point. Also, rest in peace, Marlon Brando, Ray Charles, and Rodney Dangerfield. Michael Phelps sweeps the Olympics. What did he make? Like 11, 13 medals. Becomes a superstar. Beyonce wins 5 Grammys, putting her on the road to being the most celebrated Grammy Award winner. March 11th, Al-Qaeda takes responsibility for one of the most destructive terrorist acts in Madrid. Oh, there's lots of Al-Qaeda stuff and Iraq war stuff that I don't want to get into. Paul Johnson is beheaded, and that video was circulating around. Luckily, this is before it was really easy to get a lot of video on the internet, so those monsters. There was several beheading videos that I have seen in my life, more than I ever. One is more than I ever would want to see, but moving on. Michael Jackson pleads not guilty to his allegations. Janet Jackson's Super Bowl wardrobe malfunction pretty much destroys her career. And JJ Jackson, no relation to the Jacksons, dies. He was one of the original 5 MTV VJs. Tell me in the comments if you could name all 5 of the original MTV VJs. Britney Spears and Kevin Federline get married, and pretty much putting an end to Britney Spears' goody-goody image, putting her on the road to ruin. British TV, you had the Mighty Boosh with Noel Fielding, and I ended up seeing that show a couple of years later on Adult Swim, and it's pretty wild. You should look it up. And also, Peppa Pig was a big thing. I also want to mention the William Shatner album Has Been came out in 2004. I had forgotten to mention that in the 2004 album, so I wanted to make sure I got that in there. That album is superb. It's produced by Ben Folds and has a couple of cover songs, the Pulp song Common People, and some other really, really good songs. And obviously, we all know William Shatner's delivery, and it's just hilarious the way they work it into some of these songs. EMI Records slashes jobs, drops artists, and stops manufacturing CDs. It's like they see the future of the music industry coming. Prince signs with Columbia Records. Edward Munch's screen painting is stolen. It's eventually recovered, but bird flu was a thing. Stem cell breakthroughs in South Korea, basically replicating stem cells. Netflix becomes a thing, except it's definitely wasn't the way we know Netflix nowadays. You ordered and they mailed you DVDs of the movies that you wanted to watch, and then you mailed them back to them. It's like living in the Stone Ages. Oh, Microsoft XP the greatest operating system of all time. Nintendo DS, which I'm not a gamer, but gamers said it was second only to the PS2. Apple and Motorola team up for the first mass-produced phone with MP3 technology 20 years ago. Spaceship One. Paul Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, funds the first privately funded space flight. In Chechnya, terrorists besiege a Russian school. I remember seeing that on the news. Ended up 344 people died, 186 of them children. They basically just burned the place down with all of the people in it. The Supreme Court decides that the words "under God" stays in the Pledge of Allegiance. So much for the separation of church and state. AT&T stops offering residential services. Martha Stewart goes to jail for insider trading. Is that what she got in trouble for? Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez break up. She subsequently marries Mark Anthony. Ashley Simpson's Saturday Night Live lip sync fiasco. And Mary-Kate of the Olsen twins enters rehab. Some of the new great TV shows that were coming around were Lost and Desperate Housewives. Definite improvement on stuff like Friends. Ryan Seacrest gets his own TV show, Seacrest on Air. It only lasts a few months. Robin Quivers, Howard Stern's longtime sidekick, gets her own talk show. The Statue of Liberty reopens. Holy crap, I totally forgot that scaffolding was around that thing for almost 10 years. They cleaned it all up and made it all pretty and repaired it. Ralph Nader ruins the election, basically getting W elected for his second term of the destruction of our country. The Governor, Conan the Republican, becomes the Governor of California. Saddam Hussein is caught and arraigned. In a landmark case, the appeals court decides that peer-to-peer doesn't violate copyright. Oh, when hippie band news, Fish retires, and Dave Matthews Band has their Poopgate scandal where they got in trouble for emptying their poop chute on that bridge in Chicago that basically went through the grates down onto a boat that was passing underneath. Oh God, it's hilarious. HD DVD is released as a format and nobody cared. World of Warcraft. Goodness gracious, how far games have come since then. I remember my friend played that and he showed me the extent of the world and all the things you can do in that game, and it was just amazing, mind-blowing. Apple announces that 10 million iPods will be sold by the year's end. And they released the iPod Photo, which would hold pictures. Oh my God, your iPod could have pictures on it. And the iPod Mini held 4 gigs of music and cost $250. was only $250 for 4 gigs of music that you could take with you everywhere. We were just living in the future. Regis Philbin, it's the Guinness Book of World Records with 15,000 hours on live TV. And Jay-Z becomes the president of Def Jam Records. Alright, some more celebrity deaths. Rest in peace, Christopher Reeves. Stieg Larsson, the author of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Janet Leigh from Psycho. Dimebag. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. December 8th. He, same day that John Lennon was shot. No. Was it December 4th or December 8th? I thought it was on the same day that John Lennon was shot. So it's December 8th. Rest in peace, Johnny Ramone. Old Dirty Bastard. Craig Ferguson replaces Craig Kilborn on The Late Late Show, becoming the second show that Craig Kilborn is replaced on, and the show goes on to being even more successful. He was the original host for The Daily Show, and most people probably don't even remember that. HBO's 6 Feet Under is canceled. That was an excellent show. 4 catastrophic hurricanes hits Florida in a 6-month period. Indonesia, a tsunami kills 228,000 people and affects 14 different countries. That's insane. It's considered the deadliest natural disaster of the 21st century. In Mulhouse, France, a 1,104-foot bridge becomes the highest bridge ever. And the Taipei 101 becomes the tallest skyscraper in Taipei, Taiwan, at 1,670 feet. Soon to be replaced by the the Mia Khalifa, the Burj Khalifa. It's just a joke, I know what it's called. And 20 years later, it's now the 11th tallest building in the world. Sirius Satellite Radio passes 1 million subscribers. And Michael Vick becomes the richest player in the NFL after signing a $130 million contract for 10 years. That's like $13 million a year. Some of the no-name players make that now, don't they? And Michael Vick is famous for something else. I can't quite think of what it is. The Iraqi death toll reaches 1,000. And Putin moves to claim more power. There's no way that can get more dangerous in the next 20 years, can it? And Kmart buys out Sears for $11.5 billion. So I guess that's 2004. I remember some of these things. Lots of tragic, terrible stuff, and a few fun little things. A few things that set the stage for some of the stuff that comes in the future. So I appreciate you sticking around this long if you are still here, and please watch some more of my videos.